Hi, this is Mehdi,
Hey, this is Fran.
and this is Total Tactics Football. Today we're going to be discussing Tottenham's win over Southampton. Fran, how impressed were you by Tottenham today?
Look, I think Tottenham was very impressive, but it still was a game of two halves. I think they struggled very much in the first versus Southampton. Southampton didn't take their chances despite Ings scoring early. And it was marked by the fantastic performance of Son after he scored in the late stages of the first half.
Absolutely. I feel like Ralph Hasenhüttl, the Southampton side, he's done well with them. I feel it's a really interesting side. They play good football, they press, they engage, but it's just that when you know that the quality of the players are just not good enough to perform the tactics that you have in mind. I think that's where the problem is, and we saw that with less against Leicester. They lost 8-0 last season, and he was able to gather those people, his troops, and they were able to go back and gain momentum. They finished strongly at the end of the season. This season again, you can see mentally they're cracking a little bit. Can he be able to pick his players up? I feel the players just don't have the physical ability. The squad doesn't have the depth to be able to play the style that he likes, which is intense pressing, fast moving of the ball. And in respect, when you compare that to Tottenham, it worked perfectly for them. We had today, a masterclass from Harry Kane and Son, two players who were absolutely at the top of their game. And the difference is when you have two world-class players, and if you give them an inch, they will destroy you. Bednarak, as you could see, he just did it wasn't disciplined enough. He wasn't keeping his shape with the team. And if you give Harry Kane, who's shown that not just that he has the goal scoring prowess, he has the goal creating abilities as well. He's finding balls. His range of passing is incredible. And we saw how Spurs and these players individually picked up the game. They looked like they weren't, performing well. There was a lot of criticism going around in that first half. And then as soon as these players saw there was this opening in the game, and they took it. We saw with the passes that Kane was giving to Son's intellectual ability, his understanding of the game, of the space. He's so good at running in behind, and his physique, his speed, he used that so well, and that's what happens in the end. You get those 4 goals, you're rewarded with incredible records like Harry Kane breaking the first time record of getting 4 assists in one match to the same player. That is a link up that Southampton wishes they had in Adams and Ings. Ings, a phenomenal player who's had a really good record recently, scoring. I mean, if you see his goal, his first touch is world class, and he scores. You can see the confidence in him. But the difference is Che Adams just doesn't have the same quality to back him up. A player like Ings may be a bit too good for a Southampton squad, whereas in Tottenham you can see the difference, the same contrast with Son and Kane. They can perfectly support each other and provide the quality.
No, I agree with that. And a lot of the discussion point for this game came down to Ndombele being subbed off. I think there's a lot of controversy there in terms of his relationship with Jose Mourinho. And you also have, Lo Celso, who came in for Ndombele and still performed really, really well. I think the difference in terms of the kind of shape that Tottenham have when Lo Celso comes in is that he is a more supportive player and he is much more high octane, able to press and kind of feed balls in through, whereas Ndombele is a player who is fantastic, can create actions out of nothing, as you saw with the first goal, where he was able to shield the ball perfectly and lay off a perfect pass to Kane. But he likes to play more in the center of the pitch. And ultimately, I think there's no sort of conflict there. I think Mourinho, if you read his press conferences lately, is very appraising of Ndombele. And I think the relationship can work out. We don't have a full, clear picture of what's going on behind the locker rooms, but I feel like Spurs, as an identity, they want to play 4-3-3 long term. And Lo Celso and Ndombele should be a part of that structure with Hojbjerg playing with them. I understand that Winks is playing right now, but I think it just comes down to the fitness issues. That's exactly at least how Mourinho is portraying it. So I'll take that to be, the reality. But I think it was a great game from Spurs and much more improved Doherty and Hojbjerg.
No, you're absolutely right. And they formed this really good partnership. They're starting to understand each other. Dorothy, predominantly has been played as a right wing back. In this new system, he's been asked to fill as a fullback. But Mourinho understands that how Dorothy plays. He likes the license to move forward. In that, Hoiberg very smartly covers that position at times. You can see with during the match how many times Doherty runs forward to provide the width, Mora moving in, and Hojbjerg sort of staying back, providing the defensive cover in case Doherty loses the ball forward. And this is something that Mourinho really likes. If you are going to go forward, there needs to be someone to compensate in case that you lose the attack. There's a perfect harmony in attack and defense. The balance is very important. And Dorothy and Hoiberg's, that right flank side, works really well. But Mom, what I'm really going to be interested is when Bale fits in the forward on the right hand side. How interested are you to see how Mourinho plays them?
I think Lucas had a bit of a struggling game today. He likes to play more as an out and out winger, and I feel like that just doesn't really match the kind of style that Tottenham play. Right now, they play their best when their team shape is a sort of 4-4-2, where you could see, for example, Lamela plays very much more within the midfield and stays compact, and I think Bale can play in that same position. You'd hope that Bale is fit and ready to play, but I think when Bale is ready to play, he's much more likely going to be able to stay compact and provide a lot of balls into Kane and Son, which the Spurs side clearly needs. And ultimately, I think another interesting part is Reguilon. I think Davies had a good game today. Having competition always kind of inspires better performances from players. But Reguilon is likely going to be the kind of presumed starter going forwards. And it'll be interesting to see how Doherty's kind of positioning changes with Reguilon playing, as he is also quite an offensive player.
I think there's some really interesting moments for Tottenham fans later on. If Mourinho can sort of find that balance in the squad, Tottenham could do really well. They have the ability, they have the world-class talent in Harry Kane and Son, and maybe they'll just be enough for them to get back into Europe.